Hello, church. I am Osato'S,
And I'm Yohanan,
and we would like to share our testimony of our miraculous childbirth. So we got married in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, and several months after that, we decided to start trying for a child. So I went to the doctor, and that is when I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and she also mentioned that I had a large cyst on my left ovary. So she did say that we would be able to get pregnant, but that it wouldn't be without assistance. So she immediately put me on medication, and I was taking medication, and all the while we were trying to conceive. Then we moved to Georgia, and one of my friends, Peace, invited us to Dominion City, and we've been at Dominion City ever since. That was January of last year, so now it's a little bit over a year. Upon joining Dominion City, we met Dr. Kalechi, and it was one random Sunday. Dr. Kalechi asked us, what were we believing God for? And we said, we're believing God for a child. And so he then instructed my husband, Johan, to begin to speak to the situation and speak over my body. Shortly after that is when I joined Arise and Shine. So as he was praying and speaking over my body, I was, waking up at 6 a.m. to pray over the situation. And March of 2022, we were in our house, and I got a call from my doctor, and she's like, I want you to stop all the medication. And, I was really, really upset, and I had no idea until that moment that I was putting all my faith in the medication, and she wanted me to stop it because she wanted to do a procedure that would check if my fallopian tubes were blocked. And so I stopped the medication, we did the procedure, and lo and behold, the exact same month that I stopped the medication was the exact same month that I conceived. We were in our home office, and I took a pregnancy test, and it said negative. I kind of threw it in the bathroom, okay, another negative pregnancy test. And a few hours later, Johan went to go get that pregnancy test, and then it said positive. So we were a little bit confused, and so we rushed to Walgreens, and we got 6 tests, and we used all of them, and every single one said, positive. And so we're really, really excited, and came back to church. We told Dr. Kalechi, Dr. Una, Pastor Neka recommended a book, The Supernatural Childbirth, and I already had the book, and we were actually reading it to conceive. And so Pastor Neka was like, change your perspective, and now you need to read it to labor and to have a baby and to go through the pregnancy, which is a totally different perspective. And so throughout the pregnancy, we were, praying and declaring different things, and the pregnancy was super smooth, didn't have any of the morning sickness and all the, the crazy symptoms. And fast forward 9 months to December 18th, early in the morning, I started to have contractions, labored at home for a little bit, and then we went into the hospital.
We went into the hospital, and the pushing lasted for about an hour and 30 minutes. Towards the end of the labor, we started to notice that the baby's heart rate was dropping during each contraction. So because of that, they brought the pediatric crisis team just on standby. So the pediatric crisis team came in, just in case anything happened. And then during Osato'S final push, when the baby came out, the baby had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, and he was lifeless. So the doctor cut the cord, passed the baby over to the pediatric team, and after that, I experienced the longest 5 minutes of my life. I started trying to pray. I was, wondering and thinking about, we have gone 9 months, and are we going to go home without a baby? I started praying. Osato'S mom was praying. We had Titi in the room. She was praying. So at that point, Dr. Kalechi had just spoken to me a few minutes before that time. So I just sent him a message and said, hey, be praying. Because, and while I was trying to pray, I was just, crying. I was very emotional. And for 4 minutes, there was no sound. Osato'S was, screaming, trying to call the baby's name while she was on the, bed. And then finally, we heard the baby short cry. After 5 minutes, the baby started to cry. We just started to thank God. Osato'S mom held down in the middle of the room. She raised her hand, thanking God. And then finally, after a while, they brought the baby to us just so that we could hold the baby, and then they took him up to the ICU. After about an hour, I was allowed to go see the baby. So the baby had needed 60% of oxygen when he was taken up to the NICU, but by the time I got there, he was down to 25%. So after I was able to see the baby, I just prayed over the baby and then went back to meet Osato. And then in the evening of the day of the 19th, we finally went back up to see the baby.
So we were able to go to the NICU to visit him. And as we got to the NICU, we just we're praying and just kind of declaring just health and wholeness, and just really wanting the situation to turn around. And right after we left the NICU, literally everything changed. As quickly as everything, changed for the worse after the last push, as quickly everything changed for the better. And we got a call, and they were saying that they had all these fears of brain damage because he didn't breathe for those 5 minutes, and all these different complications. But we got a call, and they're just like, we're gonna discharge him from the NICU. We don't think he belongs here anymore. We're sending him down to your room. And then shortly after that, we got another call, and they're like, you're gonna be discharged tomorrow. And I mean, everything just changed very, very quickly. And so we just want to thank God for a healthy and whole baby. And we want to thank, of course, the shepherds of this house, Pastor Steve and Dr. Una, and the amazing community that we have built here at Dominion City.